To start this talk, I'd like it if you could all answer the following question. Raise your hand if you feel that you have ever been obsessed with someone. Okay, so literally all of you. But today, I'm not talking about the obsession we normally see, not a lingering envy or a small admiration towards a person, but an all-consuming desire to seek out someone's life, where they've been, who they're dating, and what jobs they're doing. Seems a bit creepy, right? Surely this information is hard to obtain, slightly illegal, and probably immoral to do so. Well, not if it's a celebrity, it's not. Within the new media age, celebrities exist on all global platforms. Whether they're a movie star, YouTuber, or influencer, you can more than likely find an update on their lives from them, the news, the paparazzi, or any other means at our disposal. So why do we care? Why do we want their clothes, their makeup, their hair, and their careers? Why do we wish for romantic connections with them and revolve our daily lives around them? The answer? Parasocial relationships. Parasocial relationships can be defined as one-sided relationships where one person forms an emotional bond with a media figure. The term was developed by sociologists Donald Horton and Richard Hole in the 50s, coining the term while observing how their participants created an illusion of intimacy with TV characters they observed on screen. However, the idea of the parasocial connection is not just a development of the 20th century. Religious venerations, rural iconography, and mythology all allow people to form emotional, one-sided bonds with figures they never personally knew, anticipating what we now call the parasocial connection. A prime example of this is the Egyptian royal Cleopatra. Roman writers Dio and later William Shakespeare created key venerations and portrayals of Cleopatra, which have shaped our perception of her for centuries. Subjects in Egypt and beyond, both before, during, and after her rule, likely felt religious and patriotic awe towards Cleopatra, despite never seeing her or interacting with her in real life. Symbolic representation also emphasized her position in society, with Cleopatra being seen as more than just an Egyptian royal, but a symbol of female power, exoticism, and Egyptian identity. However, in the last 100 years, the power of the parasocial connection has evolved to the extremes of delusions. The reason? The media. If we place ourselves a couple thousand years on from Cleopatra during the rise of the film industry from the late 19th to early 20th century, we can observe how these icon figures were now projected into our daily lives through TV shows and films. A notable victim of these extremes is Jodie Foster, the world-famous actress who first launched her career through Martin Scorsese's 1976 film, The Taxi Driver, in which she plays a 12-year-old child prostitute. Although the themes of her character remain objectively immoral to this day, this did not prevent her rampant sexualization and romanticization. In 1981, John Hickney Jr., a 21-year-old unemployed songwriter, attempted to assassinate Ronald Reagan, the President of the United States, in order to impress Foster after becoming obsessed with her character in Taxi Driver. The delusion of parasocial effect led Hickney to believe that if Foster was able to notice him doing this act, she would be able to know who he was and possibly fall in love with him. However, if you thought the effects couldn't get any stronger, I'm afraid you would be wrong. The 21st century has brought a media outlook which has never been seen before. With the creation of the internet in the 90s, thousands of platforms have appeared at our fingertips, allowing us to further bewitch ourselves with these media figures. Let's say, for example, I was obsessed with Justin Bieber. I can now see a photo of Justin within a couple of seconds by typing his name on Google, create dedicated fan accounts about Justin, write in-depth fan fiction about me and Justin Bieber, or purchase his hair on eBay. In 2014, Justin Bieber sold his hair for over $40,000 as a charity stint with Ellen DeGeneres, who, on her talk show Ellen, put a couple grams of his hair on eBay, with bids soaring past $10,000 within the first hour. So yes, the delusion of parasocial effect led people to spend tens of thousands of their hard-earned money just to have a couple strands of Justin Bieber's hair. However, fans are not the only ones taking advantage of this new media age. Celebrities, through the internet, are now able to monetize their parasocial bond with fans. Platforms like Cameo or Patreon allow fans to pay for personalized messages, videos, and celebrations from celebrities they admire, further deepening this connection, with Patreon supporters often getting behind-the-scenes content of a celebrity's daily life. This pay-for-access dynamic deepens the parasocial connection, with fans feeling closer to the celebrity based on the amount of money they actually give the celebrity, leading to a dangerous gray area of connection. A notable symbol of this is Andrew Tate. The American personality whose online presence demonstrates the darker implications of these one-sided relationships. Andrew Tate has built a persona of hypermasculinity, wealth, and success, which has appealed to millions of young men across multiple social media platforms. His followers, many of whom feel disillusioned within their connections to women, often form strong emotional connections to his curated lifestyle and rhetoric, despite never meeting him or interacting with him in real life. Parasocial connection has reinforced toxic ideologies back into the media sphere, with the normalization of misogyny, both online and in person, and the distorting of young people's understandings of success, relationships, and for its male followers, how to present and how to express their own masculinity. Tate's monetized influence, through exclusive content and online courses, further exploits these connections through encouraging the loyalty of his followers, not through personal motivation or bettering his followers, but through emotional dependency and manipulation of their own ideologies through his. So, what does this all mean for us? We are navigating a cultural landscape in which the lines between obsession and admiration are increasingly blurred. Parasocial relationships, once distant and symbolic, are now intimate and immersive. We are not just observing celebrities, we are consuming them, building our identities around them, and emotionally investing in one-sided relationships which offer no return, often at the expense of our emotional and sometimes financial stability. So, how are we supposed to fix all of this? Parasocial relationships are not inherently harmful, but left unchecked, they become mirrors that reflect not who we are, but who we think we should be. The answer isn't to cut ourselves off from the media or celebrities either, but instead to reclaim the powers which control our attention and emotional investment. Our fostering of media literacy is critical, especially among young, impressionable minds, in order to encourage the recognition of when admiration turns into dependency. Think about the last time you felt seen by a song lyric, comforted by a celebrity's post, or inspired by an actor's role. These moments are powerful, but they should point us inward, not just outward. We need to consider who we are outside of the lens of the people we admire. By turning parasocial fascination into personal motivation, we can use the attributes we admire in others to better ourselves, not lose who we were in the pursuit of fantasy. Thank you.